Talk consumer news now. Tomorrow, we're expecting new data on inflation, and economists do say they're not very optimistic about what this report could say.
We could use some good news on this right now, right? It is expected, though, to show January was a setback in the battle against rising costs, which we've continued to see over really now the past couple of years.
And all of this is now causing the middle class to shrink as the lower class grows larger. ABC15's Jordan Bonke hearing from a Valley economist on these pretty surprising numbers of what households are going to need to bring in now, Jordan, to be considered middle class. Good morning.
Yeah, if you're looking for good news, don't come to me looking for it. Good morning to you guys, and that's where the good stops this morning, because we got data from our partners over at KTAR just to show how quickly the prices have gone up over the past few years. You know, in 2019, a household that brought in about $51,000, that was considered middle class. And according to this new data from our media partners over at KTAR, a Valley economist that they spoke with says that if two people in one household bring in north of $75,000, that today is considered middle class. This data again comes from KTAR, where they learned that most Arizonan households fall below that threshold. The median household income in Arizona is around $72,000. And the percentage of adults who live in the middle class American households fell from 61%, now that was in the 70s, to about 50% in 2021. The key contributors for this shifting and redefining middle class, I bet you can guess if you had to. It's shelter cost and the rising cost of goods and services. So, like we always do when we talk about inflation, let's start with food prices. Egg prices rose 3.4%. I picked that metric specifically this morning because that is the average amount of the inflation rate, which is around 3%. And that egg price increase from December to January was a sharp increase for just a single month. We heard from NerdWallet on food prices increasing.
So some items, for example, meat and baby food, those prices are still going up at a relatively high rate. But at the same time, we're seeing other basics like eggs, milk, cheese, those are going up at a much lower rate.
So a housing study out of Harvard found that out of more than 22 million renters, they were spending a third of their income in 2022 just on rent. Finding rent for less than $600 a month dropped by 2 million people. And advice from that Valley economist, they say advocate for affordable housing. And when it comes to trying to cut costs, when it comes to those rising food prices, the NerdWallet advice is if you're shopping at Fry's, look for the off-brand stuff. Again, not the best news when it comes to these rising costs, but it's been the trend for the past several years. Reporting downtown today, Jordan Bonke, ABC15 Arizona.
You're talking about grocery prices. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. On that note, exactly. I think economists might be surprised by the numbers, but if you've been to the store lately and the rent costs, like Jordan says, I don't think everyday people are surprised that they're considered being dropped in a class.
You just nailed it. It is so true. It hurts.